Hand clap to the master brothers and sisters. We are finally back. We finally made it to another reaction on this Mystelics Reacts channel. Of course, big up all the Mystelics family and the newcomers on the big up all yourself for tuning to see what's up with your boy Mystelics right there. These are my thoughts, brothers and sisters. What are yours? Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment box below, brothers and sisters, so I can see what you guys have to say and others can see it as well. Of course, like any day before, these are my thoughts, brothers and sisters. And if you appreciate my concise, don't forget to click the thumbs up button and of course subscribe and turn on that post notification for more vibrations as they tend to come from me right there, brothers and sisters. Anyways, brothers and sisters, with that said already, let us get into the vibrations right there. And of course, as we've seen, is none other than Mr. Alex Bruno, of course, a political individual when it comes down to the arena of politics. Pretty much that would be what it is right there, brothers and sisters. But he said something rather interesting when it comes down to the opposition of Dominica, brothers and sisters, the standing opposition in parliament. And this is what he had to say right there.
I wanted to make a point about something that I've heard repeated in the Dominican circles as far as the leader of the opposition is concerned. And many people have commented that there is no leader of the opposition in Dominica. And I would beg to differ on the following grounds. And again, that's based on my own understanding of the Constitution and how authority works. So there was a leader of the opposition appointed by the president, because two people who won in the opposition agreed that one person should serve.
So Marigot and Salisbury, the independent candidates went up for Marigot and Salisbury, and they beat out the ruling party when it comes on to the DLP assigned candidate for those two particular constituencies right there. And of course, the Salisbury candidate was the one who emerged out of the agreement between, I guess, the two. And as a result of the Constitution, brothers and sisters, she was granted the opposition leader, and I think she had to serve for half the time, I think it is, and was indicated that on the other side, on the other half or whatever, the euro, whatever arrangement they have, brothers and sisters, then they would switch over something of that order. But keep in mind that opposition, that time came and she resigned. So I think that's the part where Alex Bruno might falter a bit, because he's saying that he doesn't think that that is the case. But on the resignation of the opposition leader, all the members of parliament on the opposition, based on what is written in the books, brothers and sisters, is one of the reasons why I don't understand what Scary them or the president is doing, because it's clearly written, clear as daylight. Now, the merit of the individuals who were voted on and selected as a result of the people, you have Marigot and Salisbury. They were voted on by the people to represent them in parliament. Then you have the senators, brothers and sisters. Now, upon the resignation of Jesma Paul, the Salisbury candidate as opposition leader, they came together and the two individuals did not agree. They did not agree because they felt they lost confidence in the Marigot individual who went up, the independent candidate that went up for Marigot. They lost confidence. So if they didn't agree, clearly states in the Constitution, brothers and sisters, in the laws, that the individuals, all the individuals who are parliament, who are members of the house, who are in the opposition can vote, because the two disagree. They clearly make a stipulation for this, and some reason or the other, the president decide, oh, it's just the two that can do it. When it is clear, I don't understand clear, brothers and sisters. Anyways, Alex Bruno is trying to challenge that understanding from my point of view right there. Let's continue.
There was some other agreement that is not binding constitutionally, where somebody would replace the person who is serving, providing that they both agree that that person continues.
And they did.
That change along the way. That's not constitutional.
Yeah. That's true.
An agreement that does not rise to the level of the Constitution. So when that time came...
But isn't there a stipulation that is given for that? Because, I mean, anybody can decide, or especially when it comes down to the independent candidates, somebody can resign, and upon the members who are elected members, okay, I have to rephrase it. They were the elected members were the two individuals, and there's members of the opposition who are against the ruling party. That's how it, I think, if I have it correctly, that's how they phrased it in the books right there. So he's saying that that is somehow unless I misunderstood him, he's saying that is somehow nothing. But they give stipulations when people resign or when there's another opposition leader to come in and those kind of things. Keep in mind, also the president. Sir, but brothers and sisters, something just happened there. But anyways, on the merit, if something is taking place, the president can, you know, if there are broken rules by the opposition leader and those kind of things there and so forth and so forth, the president can step in and remove the opposition leader as a result of breaking the rules or some sort of, you know, there's always stipulations regarding that. Yes, an opposition leader can be removed in that regard. And of course, one of the measures was that the individual resigned, and then, you know, they disagreed, and, you know, everybody else came in and voted for Salisbury to remain opposition leader because they lost faith in the Marigot individual. Let's continue.
For the transition, and the two elected parties did not agree for the other person to serve.
Yep.
That does not mean that there is no leader of the opposition. By default, the person who was gazetted by the president to serve continues to serve until such time that...
True, but she resigned. She resigned, and it was accepted by the president. So if she resigned from the position, how can she still be in the... It's like, so what is the point of resigning? Especially since it's accepted by the president. That would not make sense to me. Anyways, let's continue.
Something else replaces the person who is serving, which is an agreement by two members that this person is now serving. So
they disagree.
Based on my understanding of the situation, is that Jesma Paul continues to serve as the leader of the opposition in Dominica until such time that she and Anthony agree that Anthony is going to serve.
Maybe he knows something else that we don't know, but it's very, from our understanding, it seems like he also failed to mention that she resigned. She literally gave her letter of resignation as the political leader, and it was accepted by the president. And this is where the whole thing came in with the saying, oh, you know, is that I mean, it's in the books. Something I don't understand what is going on in this world, you know. But then again, they say no laws and constitution. Not true, so I guess they can do whatever they want. Unfortunately, I think there should be some sort of court case that would say, okay, we challenge this, and this is what the court is saying. I mean, it's very clear, that all the members of the opposition, if the elected members do not agree, then all those who oppose the government, the members, not the elected members, but the members of the opposition in parliament can then vote. They have a voice. I tell you.
Default, she is the leader of the opposition, and I think the hue and cry being made by many that there is no leader of the opposition might be far-fetched, because the president should have acted, or probably can still act, and say that you continue to serve. And even if the president did not so act, in my best understanding of the continuance of authority, legislatively and also administratively, the leader of the opposition in Dominica continues to be Jesma Paul.
But she resigned. That's why I keep saying she resigned, and it was accepted by the very president. If there was an understanding and saying, okay, you know, she will continue, she did not resign, and then they put a thing and the people did not agree and so forth and so forth. First of all, I think she should not have resigned in the first place. If she did not resign, then what you would say there makes complete sense. So even if they disagree or whatever, she still retains that position because she was gazetted and accepted by the president and so forth. But I think she should not have resigned. They should have had a vote. When they had the vote, bring it forward to the president. If the president agree or disagree, whatever, like they disagree, the one that is happening right now, and then if she disagrees, then they can write an annulment or resignation and then an instatement in the same letter. I think that's what should have happened. But of course, you learn for next time, right there.
And that's what I wanted to say. I hope the pundits and the observers and the commentators and the politicians understand my contribution for what it is.
Well, thanks for the contribution, sir. But I think you missed the part where it comes on to the resignation of Jesma Paul. If she did not resign, I think that would be what we're saying. But maybe you know something that we don't know, brothers and sisters. What are your thoughts? Leave your thoughts in the comment box, you know, brothers and sisters. Talking about opposition, unofficial opposition as president, the number one opposition team in Dominica, it seems like the escalation of what took place with the resignation of the deputy political leader, DELBERT Paris, is continuing. And according to NIA brothers and sisters, former United Workers Party deputy political leader blames comments by leader of Dr. Fountain as reasons for his resignation. Interesting, brothers and sisters. And it's funny that they are coming on in the public's eye to talk about these things. First of all, I would mention that if you have a problem with what the political leader is saying, remember, he's the political leader. You're the deputy political leader. And as a result, you are under his leadership. If you have grievances of sorts, my God, you could have gone spoken to the man and said, I don't like what you have stated right there. And as a result, both of you would then come out and say, hey, this is what the measure is, the misunderstanding. Because he's talking about a number of things when it comes down to that situation, both in the on different media. Anyways, this is the former deputy political leader speaking right there. I regretfully submit my resignation as the political deputy leader of UWP effectively immediately. Right there. This decision follows careful consideration of recent events and the existing leadership environment in the party. First of all, now, there could be, everybody has their takes on different things and so forth, brothers and sisters. Everybody have their takes on whatever. Keep in mind, the existing leadership of the party was not Thompson that put himself there. You put yourself there, Thompson put themselves there, whoever else put themselves there for leadership of the party. And the people voted for Dr. Thompson Fountain as the most viable candidate from their sphere, on a democratic understanding that he is the better of two, of the deputy of DELBERT versus Thompson. They voted him back. All right. Now, with the understanding of the leadership, brothers and sisters, if you have a problem with leadership, you could then go out and say you have lost confidence and so forth, and only do a vote again or something of that sort, and that, you know, matters. You coming online to say that you have a problem with the existing leadership environment of the party. While my commitment to the party founding principles and vision for our nation remains unwavering, he said that, I read that yesterday, I find myself unable to effectively carry out responsibility of deputy political leader due to several unfortunate, and he stated it right there. The event following my decision in Parliament on March 19th, a decision that in effect aligns with the party's position on the Register of Electors, have been particularly troubling. I have faced vicious public attacks from within the party along the repeated calls for my resignation. No, it is. I'm sure it's not Dr. Thompson Fountain that was calling for your resignation. It wasn't. It was the people, especially the supporters in that regard. Because, no, brothers and sisters, there's two ways you can look at it. Now, keep in mind, he was not elected. He was brought in from an elected member from the Marigot constituency on the basis of an independent ticket, not under the United Workers Party ticket. Okay, so that was not his calling at all. Okay, not his calling. The decisions and this kind of things that he made as a participant, so to speak, on the elected member of Marigot, the senator on the elected member of Marigot. He did this thing on the understanding of, you know, being a senator in Parliament. On the other hand, he was also, or became, because he was first a senator and then became the deputy leader of the United Workers Party, knowing well what the United Workers Party stood for when it comes down to electoral reform. You knew this. So how do you weigh both of these things, brothers and sisters? As a senator on that independent ticket and the deputy leader of the United Workers Party, knowing that they were against the electoral reform thing. I mean, if you are part of the party, my God, part of the party, knowing what the party stands for, why would you then choose to go against? No, it's not maybe, you know, you went against. You went against it, bro. This is not a he say, she say thing. You literally went against what the party stood for. And the party was not for electoral reform. Keep in mind that you did put up what the party stood for. You put up a number of the measures and so forth and so forth. You did put it as a senator member representing representing the UWP as well as a deputy leader and what the party stood for. But you went against it. Now my question I have to ask there, did you go against it as a senator or did you go against it as a deputy leader? And I find this to be a very conflicting thing, because if you made that decision as a senator outside of being a deputy leader, that would not have been a problem. But it became a problem because you represented as deputy leader, You're not a treasurer, you're not a PRO, you're the deputy leader. In other words, if the leadership is not there, you take over. You take over. So I think this is a very conflicting thing right there. However, you knew and you brought in the ideologies and so forth and so forth. Okay, you brought in as a deputy leader. You brought in the ideologies of the United Workers Party and electoral reform commission and these people there, so forth and so forth, civil. You brought that in. They took some, I put it in quotes, because they can reject it completely on the merit of when they decide to call elections. They can reject everything, which will bring back to square one. Or they can accept, they have accepted certain things that would not necessarily have a basis, brothers and sisters, because look at here, they removed the 5 years thing. So people don't even have to come to Dominica. They can stay outside 20 years, claim they're Dominicans, have a Dominica passport, whatever. An election comes, Gassa, I want to come down Dominica and vote. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Just come now. Clearly, I'm a Dominican, look at my Dominica passport, all these things there, blah, blah, blah. Put me on the list, please. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong in that regard right there, but that's what I understood so far. But that is the issue, and I'm sure is the main issue right there. Since 2019, the public dissemination of inaccurate and misleading information, especially by political leader Dr. Thompson Fontaine, has and continues to undermine my position as deputy political leader. So he's the leader of the party. He's the leader. If you do not agree, the leader is what sets the precedence in that team. If you feel like you were not ready to be part of that, you should wait till next election calls for you to join in that system. You should wait. But you represent the United Workers Party as the deputy leader going against, because you voted yes. Now somebody made a comment on my post saying that you cannot put the bills together. You cannot rope them in together. But apparently that's what they seem to have done. Because they voted yes, brothers and sisters, thinking that they agreed with the first bill and the second bill. They didn't agree with the third bill right there. I think they stated something like this in this thing right there. Let me... 3 bills, okay, I think. All of Dr. Thompson Fontaine's are fallacious, you see. The records of parliamentary sessions on March 19 available for government GIS website will demonstrate that 3 bills were individually presented, read and passed by the House. So what did you guys say yes on? What did you guys say yes? If they were individually presented, and we only saw you guys saying yes for apparently all 3 bills, that is what has been told to me, then how on earth you saying that the bills were individually presented, read and passed by the House of Assembly procedures, especially parliamentary practices? Consequently, I had no alternative expectation that the bills could be passed collectively. Dr. Fontaine, having served as legislator 2015 to 2017, should possess full awareness of these procedures. It's very interesting. Oh, this was the interview that was being held. When it comes down to, I should have just do the thing normal. Anyways, Paris like ourselves has, I guess this is what he was saying right there, that he was told the media. I think he spoke to the regional media right there. Paris like ourselves have no issues with the House of Assembly and electoral office part of the act. those two pieces that are indicated before, we thought these were okay. The issue we had concerns about finance and voters. So the third part of the bill right there. So according to Paris, it continues right there in quotes. According to Paris's explanation when it was presented, it was of the view that they were going to do separate calls for votes on the separate pieces of legislation. He did not realize at the time that when it was announced, they announced the three of them, and having supported these two pieces of bills, he said yes, not realizing that this was the end. He made a mistake. That's what it is. I guess people were not thinking straight. That's what I was also told as well, brothers and sisters, by authors who were there. Okay? So it's not just, yeah. Anyways, all of Dr. Thomson Fountain's, according to Paris, is saying they were fallacious. The regional parliamentary sessions of March 19th, 2025, available on the government information, you know, I just read that right, were read separately and passed. So how did you guys vote? Were they read separately and were voted separately, or were they read separately, read and voted on and then passed? What happened, brothers and sisters? If you guys know that answer, let me know that in the comment box below. Demonstrate that the three bills were individually presented, read and passed by the House of Assembly, House of Assembly's procedure and established parliamentary practices. Consequently, I had no alternative expectation that the bill could be blah blah blah. His efforts to present an alternative narrative, in my view, is intentional, particular considering that I had a telephone conversation with Dr. Thomson, Dr. Fountain, on the afternoon of March 19th, during which I explained the events that transpired in Parliament that day, a conversation he subsequently refuted on public radio. Just coming to us have beef. This is why somebody made a comment and think that maybe Skerrit intervened, and some people are losing hope when it comes down to the very individual themselves. I didn't want to point this out, but individuals are losing hope when it comes down to DELBERT himself, thinking that DELBERT was bought. I'm not gonna lie, when I heard that they all said yes, that's the first thing that popped up in my mind. I'm like, my goodness, they're checking well, they are the minority. That's what I thought, brothers and sisters, when I heard that everybody said yes to the bill. I said maybe Skerrit them or whoever got to them, you know, and said, you know what, hey, you guys are in minority, we are the majority, the bill is still gonna pass. But if you decide to say yes on the bill, we might give you a little funds here and there. That's the thought that came to my mind. I don't know if it's 100%, because I cannot believe that individuals from the constituencies representing would still say yes. Maybe the senators would say yes, but not those elected on the opposition side right there. But they still said yes, and I'm thinking to myself, I could be wrong in this, brothers and sisters, who knows? But based on what an individual is saying, maybe they're saying that DELBERT is compromised. They're saying that it might be compromised in that regard. Because that's the explanation I myself received when it comes on to that sentiment right there. And he's saying that the bills are read separately and so forth and so forth. Interesting. The recommendations contained in the communique from the UWP dated September 23, blah, 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 letter to the Prime Minister signed by Dr. Thomson plainly contradict his public statement after March 19 that the party had agreed to the House of Assembly Elections Act. Why? What is wrong with you guys, man? Election campaign finance is not a feature of the registration of electors bill, and the issue raised in the political. I wait to see what Thomson have to say on that. I waiting because, well, then again, if I was Thomson, I wouldn't respond to this. I wouldn't. You are no longer deputy leader, so what? Why would I respond to these things? I would just say, well, I'm sorry that he felt this way. You know, I'm sorry that he felt this way in this regard. But I think we have more pressing concerns when it comes on to what is taking place. Because if somebody got to him, I'm not saying somebody got to him, I think he has a lot of potential when it can come, but I think he has to be mentored for him to properly be, you know, in this thing right there. But it seems like there's some sort of conflict. If you have a problem, my God, why are you coming in the public? And come and say these things. You could have gone to him personally, went out there. This is why people are saying that he might be compromised. Who knows? You could have gone to him and both of you come out with a statement and say, okay, if he may have misunderstood what I said, and this kind of things there, you could have clarified these things together as a unit. I tell you, boy, I tell you. Anyways, he's saying that the election campaign finance is not a feature of the registration of electorals bill, and the issues raised in the political leaders' communication to the Prime Minister, such as election campaign finance, election offences, bribery, and treating abuse of incumbency and access to the media, all fall under the House of Assembly Act. None of these issues were addressed or resolved in the House of Assembly elections bill passed on March 19, 2025. They assert that the party had agreed with this bill is another dangerously misleading statement that he wrote public. My brother, you voted yes. Okay, let's say all what you said is correct. He make a mistake and said this is not in that bill, and okay, great. You said yes, my brother. Brothers and sisters, I'll post this link in the description below so you guys can check it out yourself. Anyways, he indicated I only voted for the Registration of Electors Act. I was not present to pass the other two bills. I did not vote for them. So you're saying that you did not vote for the other two bills. Brothers and sisters, I wonder, we need to... did you guys watch? I didn't watch the video, brothers and sisters. I only got clippings and this kind of things there. But did you watch the full video? Did they read the different bills and they voted on each individual bill? That's a question I want to ask. Was voting done on each individual bill? That is what I really want to do right there. It is unfortunate that such a degree of misinformation has been publicly disseminated and is yet to be corrected, amounting to defamation, derision, and untruths, to diminish and discredit my integrity. Bro, you could have go to the man. You could have go to the man and lay a problem. You know, you're represented as a deputy leader, and that is what you come out and do. That is what you come out and do. No, I don't say that Thompson is, you know, whatever. But if you have a problem, my goodness gracious, Thompson, you come and put this. Thompson, from our understanding, you know, brothers and sisters, and it's not just DELBERT. He heard saying these things, or maybe misunderstood saying these things. I heard from other people as well that were in Parliament saying that they bundled the things together. They did not know, and so forth. I heard this. So the question I ask him, brothers and sisters, were the bills read separately and voted on separately? Or were they read separately and then voted on after they were read separately? So the three bills were read, they read separately. This is the bill, then this is the bill, then this is the bill, and then they voted yes or no. That is what I want to know right there. Guys, you will read go in the article. I encourage you all to read. I'll read it myself after this video. Anyways, brothers and sisters, we all I said every day. What are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts? Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment box below. This is a reaction vibrations, engaging in communications, brothers and sisters. Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment box below. With that said right there, if you understand and appreciate my concise, brothers and sisters, click the thumbs up button for me. And of course, subscribe and turn on the post notifications so you can get the latest vibrations when they do definitely tend to come through right there. Publish and post. Definitely you get that notification in that regard right there. Anyways, brothers and sisters, be real, salute the king always, be positive.